we just wanted to say that thanks for all of the care centers that have participated today. Advocate Children's Hospital of Oak Lawn, Advocate Hospital of Park Ridge, Loyola Medical Center, Lurie's Children's Hospital of Chicago, Northwestern University, Rush University Medical Center, and the University of Chicago and Medicine. Thank you so much. This CF Education Day started. Lurie's Children's Center Advisory Board has come together last year, and we decided we wanted to get everyone together to share the things that we've learned, and we brought in two fabulous speakers that are going to speak with us today, and bring in sponsors to hopefully we all can learn a lot today on how to educate ourselves and our children. I am a mother of a 4-year-old with cystic fibrosis. His name is Brady, and I'm really excited to be a part of this day. I wanted to thank the CF Center Advisory Board out of Lurie's that helped put this together. Amanda Anderson, Adrian Belmonte, Stacy Bickle, Don Corona, Carolyn Heyman, Shannon McGuire, Sandra Morris, Kelleen O'Connell, Eileen Potter, Stacy Riggs, and Sue Smith. So thank you everybody for helping us out. This is a great day. First, we're going to start out with our speaker, Emily Slink. She's the Associate Executive Director of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and she's just going to give us a little bit of the different resources that the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation can help us with. Amy?
You combine them. Emily and Amy.
Oh, just a second. There, oh, Emily, excuse me.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Amy from the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's Greater Illinois chapter. It's a pleasure to be here with you today and speak to everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces out there, some even I saw last night, and some new faces that I look forward to meeting later today when we have our tables open. I'm sure most of you know that the face of cystic fibrosis has changed dramatically over the past 50 years. But what some of you may not know is that the foundation has led that way. The Cystic Fibrosis Foundation has raised and invested hundreds of millions of dollars into its mission, which is to find a cure for cystic fibrosis and improve the quality of life for those living with disease. The success of the foundation is due in large part to people like you, the CF families and caregivers, the scientists and clinicians, and the tireless volunteers. I think the most successful story of recent is the approval of Kalydeco, which was FDA approved in 2012, which treats the underlying cause of cystic fibrosis. Now, the approval of Kalydeco was absolutely a game changer for the CF community, but it definitely made the job of the foundation clear. We needed to continue to pursue groundbreaking drugs for all people with cystic fibrosis, so that no mutation is left behind and that the people living with cystic fibrosis have access to the treatment and care that they need. So to continue to do that, we are going to need to continue to rely on our generous donors, but we also need to meet new people. So we're looking to all of you to help do that. I'm here with my colleagues today, Allison, Jessica, and Emily. We look forward to speaking to each and every one of you today about the fundraising events that are going on in your community. And I know every single care center has a Great Strides Walk team. So for those of you that are new to the foundation, I encourage you to join their walk team. Come out and see what the foundation is all about. Another thing that we are doing here today is signing up advocates. So now more than ever, it's important that we're all voices for those living with cystic fibrosis. So please stop by and at least sign up to be an advocate. Serious lawmaking is going on at the state level that's going to affect access to care. and in the health reform. So thank you again so much for allowing us to be a part of this day. I know together we will achieve our mission and that all people with cystic fibrosis will live long and healthy lives. Thank you.
All right, everybody at their table, you'll see index cards that throughout our speakers, if you have any questions, if you could write on the index cards and we'll come and pick them up. We'll have a panel at the end that you can, it's a Q&A that you can answer questions. So feel free to write down any questions and we'll pick them up after at the lunch break. Right now, we are happy to introduce Emily Schaller, who is founder of Rock CF, and she is very popular in the CF community. She's a musician, a marathon runner, and we are so happy to have you here today, Emily Schaller.
Yep, it's for camera. Go ahead and put that on. See it real quick there.
You guys see me over there?
Let's put the microphone on the outside so you can
Clip
twist
me.
this around like this. All right, I'm going to clip you.
I'm a mover, so I'm
I'm
not.
going to clip you.
And you can't see me.
There you go. Put that in your pocket.
Thank you.
All right, and then there you go. There you go.
Oh, it's good.
All right, so let's get you loaded up here.
He's doing a fabulous job. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah. That was a first? Oh, come on. These guys work tires. And my name will be Amy for the day. You've heard from Emily once. How you guys doing? Everybody good? You ready? Should we do some yoga to wake up? Or wait? Did somebody just quickly respond no? That was you,
We're
huh?
going to pop up real quick and I'm going to pause it.
Oh, we're going to start with a little video to break the ice. My mom, like, even from the first day she held me, she knew something wasn't right. I was sick all the time. The doctor was like, oh, we'll test her for cystic fibrosis. And the test came back positive. But the thing about cystic fibrosis back then is there weren't many treatments. Probably wouldn't live long enough to graduate from high school. Over the past 20 years, more treatments have come out. Median age of survival for somebody with cystic fibrosis is late 30s. I was in the hospital at least 2 to 3, 4 times a year treating these lung infections. But I wasn't exercising or doing anything beyond what I could do that kind of helped. So I decided, look, I've kind of had enough of being sick. So I decided I'm going to start running. Within 3 months of training, my lung function had increased to highest numbers I had ever seen. I knew I was onto something, and I knew that running was definitely helping me, so I started running once. It's such an easy thing. You put on a pair of shoes, and you go out and run, and it's free. And it's totally changed my life, physically and mentally. If everyone else did it, the world would be such a happier, better place. I started a half marathon for CF. All the money that we get, we turn back over to the CF Foundation for research. We can change people, we can help people, we can make people's days, and if somebody else's day is made, it carries on and helps other, it just spreads. These other patients with CF, kids and adults, kind of are my drive. I kind of run to live and I run to breathe, and my goal is to outrun cystic fibrosis. That's right. My mom, like, oh, you want to watch that again? She told me she knew something. Just keep it on loop. I use a Mac, so I have no clue how to do this. Yeah, look at that bowl cut, everybody. Let's give it up for the bowl cut. Are we doing Q&A at the end? That's right. So I'll just fly through this presentation for you guys. So I'm happy to be here. This is very cool. Chicagoland. It's got a good ring to it. And I traveled with bodyguards today. Jacqueline, my best friend since age 6, 7, probably, yeah. And her dad, Kimbo, taught me all my dance moves. It's true. And so they actually live, Jacqueline lives in the suburbs of Chicago, so I get to stay with them. I have a little, actually yesterday I ate more calories than I've eaten. These guys taught me how to eat, let me just say that. So I would, growing up, especially elementary, high school, middle school, I would eat at home and then call these guys up and say, what's for dinner? And I'd go over there for dinner, dessert, come back home for dinner. So they actually nourished me through my childhood, so it's incredible. All right, so cystic fibrosis, 1982. That's when I was born. I think I'm 31 now. Diagnosed when I was 18 months. And are there a lot of newly diagnosed families here today? Probably, yeah, okay. So my childhood was awesome. I have 2 older brothers. So the first time, you know, my mom had me, she's in the hospital, and she's holding me, and she has this mother's intuition, right? Like something is not right. 1980s was before newborn screening. It's before any testing. You just had the baby, send it home, whatever. So, but my mom had this sense that something wasn't right, and we're still trying to figure out like everything that's not right. But the doctors were like, no, she's great, she's beautiful, send her home, she'll be just like her brothers, no big deal. The first couple months of my life, we had this chronic ear infection deal. We had the runny nose. I didn't really develop a cough until later, but just kind of like a sickly child, this failure to thrive I was diagnosed with at a very early age. But they tested me for CF when I think I was a year old, and the test came back negative. So my parents were like, sweet, because we don't even know what CF is, cystic fibrosis, no clue. Nowadays, you get diagnosed, you Google that bad boy, and millions of things pop up, and millions of scary things pop up, especially newly diagnosed families. I'm always like, stay off the internet. Don't go on the internet. Don't Google CF, because it will freak you out. So my parents had like an Encyclopedia Britannica. Who knows? Remember you could like get the collector's set? That was cool. But the first test for CF came back negative. And then after 18 months, another test, because I was developing more symptoms, especially in the digestive area, came back positive. So my parents freaked, right? It's 1983. They don't know anybody else with cystic fibrosis. They don't even know what it means. They open up the encyclopedia or a dictionary, is that what they call it? I don't write much, so I don't. I wasn't a great student. My parents were both teachers, but I got by. But they, they get this diagnosis, and the doctors say, look, she's cute, but she might not live long enough to graduate from high school, you know? Then you read this paragraph. In 1983, it was, cystic fibrosis is a childhood disease that causes thick and sticky mucus in the lungs and premature death. I mean, that's what they got when I was diagnosed in 83. I assume I advanced with the space bar? Yeah, all right. So my parents are amazing, and you guys can attest to this, and some of you have seen my parents in action or read a blog post about my parents. They're awesome. So we get the diagnosis, and they made the decision right there that they were not going to let CF stop me, stop the family, or make it our center of our life. You know, it's like, this is Emily, she has CF, go spend the night at Jacqueline's, go eat, go be a kid, and that's what I was. So I grew up, playing drums. That's my first drum set. I grew up running, and actually that was probably the last time I ran until a few years ago, because I hated running. It was like the stupidest thing. Unless you were running to like kick a ball or play basketball, I'm like, why would you run? Because it's just like, there's nothing involved with it. And this is CF camp. Anybody have any memories of CF camp back in the 80s or 90s? Yeah, picture this, young parents. Hundreds of CF patients in a camp getting chest physical therapy together, breathing treatments together, eating together, sleeping in the same dorms for like 5 days straight. It was the best weeks of our lives, because it's like, hey, this is one time that we can be together and relate with other patients. You know, you do this too? Clicker. Look at this, clicker. This guy's on top. Lisa, you'll have a clicker. But it was so cool. And then, of course, this cross-contamination issue started popping up, and they started shutting the camps down. And now CF patients, we can FaceTime each other, or we can follow each other on Facebook, which is great. I mean, we're changing with technology, but it's frustrating as a CF patient, especially someone who's lived this life of being in the hospital rooms together, camping together, and now it's like, here comes FaceTime, which you got to cope with what happens, you know? So my childhood was great. I mean, yeah, okay, here we go. These are my brothers, and I grew up skateboarding, surprise. This is actually a home video. It probably won't play, but it's me on drums, my brother singing, and my brother on guitar. So my dad was a music teacher. That's how I got the music side. My mom was a phys ed teacher, college softball, tennis player. So very cool mix of parents. And my dad is 6'7". I don't know if you can believe that, because I'm pushing 5'3". And my mom is 5'2", so it's like it's a really cute Mutt and Jeff type deal. But so I got the drum set for my 3rd birthday. We wrote I think we played "You Want It All, But You Can't Have It," that awesome song from the 90s. We'll do karaoke later. But so my parents were just like normal childhood.
Basketball, I was a spud web until I didn't grow, and then my lungs started kicking in, so my running wasn't good, so I wasn't able to keep up as well with the other kids, but very active nonetheless. And I thank my parents for that today. This slide is my favorite. So here's the deal. And I'm writing a book constantly, but I never actually write it because I'm too ADD to sit down and type. But this is a playground. And I think actually the book could be called something like Emily and the Playground or something about the playground. So very active kid. Recess was my favorite, lunch was my favorite, and gym class was my favorite in elementary, middle, and high school. I actually took 2 gym classes in high school. We made our own class called AP Fitness, and I almost placed out of it. But my mom was the gym teacher, I just remembered that. So I would play football with the boys and basketball with the boys in elementary school recess, which is not surprising. And we actually brought out a football last night with Jacqueline's husband and I. We were going along, it was pretty cool. But one day I decided, look, I'm gonna go play in the monkey bars, which is something I would never do. It's uncharacteristic of Emily to go play in the monkey bars, but I did. And as I was running out to the monkey bars, I started coughing. And this was in 3rd grade. Up until 3rd grade, I didn't have a cough symptom. I was more digestive. My parents beat me because we didn't have the vest, so they would do the chest therapy. And I always knew my mom was mad at me if she left her rings on. And my dad's like, yeah. And she was an athlete, right? So she had that good wrist action. It was incredible. And my dad was like a gentle giant. He would barely hit me. It was pretty cool. So I'm running out there, and I start coughing. And I kind of stop, and I take this breath, and I'm like, oh, man, what is this cough? And I put it all together right there in 3rd grade on the playground running to the monkey bars, that this must be what cystic fibrosis is. It's why I've been going to the hospital every 2 months to get weighed and x-rays of my lungs and what else do you do at clinic? You get some blood drawn or flu shots. You just go to the hospital every 2 to 3 months. To me, it was just oh, we're going to the hospital. What's the big deal? But it was this one time I had this aha moment on the playground, this is cystic fibrosis. So from that point on, I started to become a little bit more knowledgeable about it. But still, it's 94 at the time, when there still wasn't, I'm not good at math, so that's another thing. So all these dates are probably wrong, but don't fact check them. It's not important. There wasn't a lot of info out there. And aside from the camps, I didn't know anybody else with CF, but I just realized this is what I had. And I grew up in a great community, an island, actually, seriously. I grew up in an island in the Detroit River, southwest of Detroit, 19 miles. I don't know. Again, not important. So I grew up on this island. The kids that I went to elementary school with and kindergarten were the kids I graduated with. So these kids saw and they knew me inside and out. Jacqueline actually, she lived in Amsterdam for a while, and when I traveled over there, she would do my chest physical therapy for me just a couple years ago, and there's cool pictures because I didn't want to travel with the vest. We were going to Rome, we were going to Berlin or wherever, but she would just do my therapy for me because she'd known me forever. So the kids I grew up with and graduated with, they kind of shaped me to who I was. They were never oh, this is Emily. She's sick, she has CF. They're this is Emily, whatever, she's in the hospital. We'll bring her some White Castle, we'll bring her some 7-Eleven. It was awesome, and that's the community, that's how my parents treated me, that's how my uncles, my family is a large family. So my uncles, this is actually a picture from New York City. I'm wearing sweet Doc Martens, by the way, from Macy's Kids Department. So my uncles in New York City, I would go out to visit those guys a lot. And this just goes along with how everyone treated me just like everyone else, which is the way CF patients should be treated. We're just like everyone else. So one day my uncle was cooking baked ziti, and he's like, Emily, I think I'm 11 or 12 in that picture, in New York City. He's like, could you walk up to the store and get us some, I think it was basil. We need some basil for the ziti. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 12. I'll go take over the streets in New York. So I put on my sweet toggle coat jacket, which are coming back. Those are coming back. I call it this year. These things will be back. So I get my Doc Martens on, I get my toggle coat on, and I walk to the nearest grocery market, which I don't know where I'm going. I'm in New York City and I'm 12. I go to the spice department and I'm looking and I was like, oh wow, there's basil, there's oregano, there's thyme, there's rosemary, there's sage. I'm not gonna sing the song, but there's a whole section of herbs, and I was like, oh, I got this. I grabbed the first ones. I get home. They thought it was pretty cool that they snapped a picture of Emily on her adventure going to the grocery store. I come back. Everyone's excited. She comes back with a handful of some sort of herb, and it was cilantro. And you cannot use cilantro in Italian. You can, but it won't be great. But that just like right there shows that whatever, they sent me out on this thing. I'm 12, and she's just like any other kid. She's not a good grocery shopper, but she's, we're gonna let her take over the city. And just, that was cool. I mean, for me, that was like a big moment. And I discovered this picture last year after it being tucked away for probably 20 years, and it was just cool to say, oh, I remember that whole story with this picture. Oh yeah, the rock and roll thing. My band is actually reuniting December 28th after 3 years. So we're doing a Rock CF benefit show if anyone wants to come to Detroit. But here's the deal. I went to high school, homecoming queen, which is hilarious. Yeah. I decided I wanted to go to Wayne State University in Detroit, study theater, right? So I was going to do backstage theater, stage management. I had these grand plans of moving to New York City, working on Broadway and doing this whole New York thing. A couple years into school, I realized, you know what? I really don't like school. I don't love college. I'm not digging this. My parents, when I tell them this, like 2 years in, that I'm going to maybe take a hiatus from school, they were thrilled. They were both teachers, so of course they are like so pro-education. And when I told them that I was going to stop going to school and then start folding T-shirts for the Detroit Red Wings and Tigers, working for like $7 an hour, they were like, whoa, they were so proud. They had a dinner party for me for that one. But hey, everything is an adventure, right? You don't live, you learn from mistakes. And that was kind of my motto, and it still is my motto. You don't learn anything if everything goes smooth. So I'm folding shirts. My brother's in a rock band at the time. 2004, I think I turned 21. We decided to have this concert, this Just Let Me Breathe, right? My brother's band had a song called Breathe. The chorus was Just Let Me Breathe. And I was like, oh, that works for CF, right? So my wheels started turning. So we had the first annual Just Let Me Breathe rock concert. Sold it out, raised like $10,000 for the CF Foundation. And then I had this little, okay, I think I could turn this into a career. Fundraising, making money for my friends at the CF Foundation, getting this whole group of people who were kind of at the time being left out of the equation, right? The 18 to 35-year-olds who weren't going to black tie events or golf outings, but we wanted these guys to know what CF is. So I started doing these concerts more and more. I decided to start a rock band with 4 girls. We actually auditioned a singer, and we didn't even know how to play our instruments, but we're like, oh, we need a singer. So we brought this girl in to sing, and she didn't make the cut. Then we got another friend to join the band as a singer, and we literally did not know how to play our instruments. Our first show was New Year's Eve. We played 2.5 songs, and the one song we played to lead in was We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. Yeah. But we didn't even play the whole song because we didn't know the whole song. We just played the intro. And then after our third, second and a half song, people were like, one more, and we're like, we don't know. It was cute. Eventually, we got up to like 8 songs, 9 songs, a couple more covers. And we started doing these benefits every year. We were bringing CF patients in from California to play. They were cool. I mean, we were raising money for CF, spreading some mad awareness, launching a new T-shirt line with Just Let Me Breathe on it. So this whole branding of Rock CF started to come into play. And that's when I realized, okay, I got my career. I'm going to start the Rock CF Foundation. So I did. 2007, I officially became an entrepreneur. I think, how do you spell that? I don't know. And founded this nonprofit where my focus is awareness, so getting people out there who don't know what CF is. We've got a line of merchandise that I brought some giveaways, so get ready for some Q&A. Whoever has the best 5 Q&A questions, you get a free shirt or hat, so start writing these down. But, and I've shipped the shirts to Australia, to Jerusalem, all over the world, and it's just like this. You make the shirts cool to wear, and then they're conversation pieces, and then it comes back to CF. What is CF? What can we do? Visit Rock CF, visit CFF. Let's get involved. So it's like Rock CF's kind of like an empowerment movement. Rock the Vote actually stole their thing from us. So we had Rock CF first, and then Rock the Vote. You know, they came along just for you to vote. So it's been cool. I'm at a place now where I never thought I would be professionally, which I guess you can call it professionally, or I'm having a good time, let's just say that. And we're actually opening our very first office this Saturday in downtown Detroit, which is very cool. I got my own office and my own showroom and store. But back to the CF side of it. A very active childhood, I'll say it for the 100th time today. My first hospitalization wasn't until I was 12 or 13 in 7th grade. Into the hospital, I had no clue. I was freaking out, like I had no clue what to expect. Do the home IVs thing, and we noticed that my lung function's starting to go down. I'm in the hospital now 2 to 3 times a year from 12 until age 20. I turned 21 now, and I'm playing in this rock band. Probably not taking the best care of myself, right? You play these gigs. In Detroit was still smoking. We still had like the no smoking ban, so we'd load in equipment at 7 o'clock, play until 2 a.m., and then I'd be in the smoky bar for 5 hours. So that probably wasn't the best for my health. And so I, like the video said, it came a point in my life where I'm like, I have to change something, right? I'm doing everything my CF doctors and my care team are telling me to do. I'm doing my treatments. New treatments are coming out. Toby's coming out. Pomazyme's coming out. We have Casetin now, but all these drugs that are treating our symptoms and giving us life, they're coming out. But I'm still sick. I'm still in the hospital. So running was one thing I started. But right with running, I decided to bike, which is funny. So Kevin on the right here was my boss at the One Detroit t-shirt shop where I was folding shirts and selling those. This is my phys ed teacher from 1st grade until 8th grade. This is my high school counselor. We have the Fab Four, I guess. Kevin on the right comes to me one day in 2007 and he's like, Em, let's walk to New York for CF. And I'm like, no. Why? I mean, why would you want to walk like several hundred miles to New York, like walk? So next day he comes back, what about riding our bikes to Chicago? And I was like, okay, that sounds a little easier, a lot less days, let's do it. So we got our bikes out. I did a 20-mile ride, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna die. I went home and ate pretzels and Powerade and just like ate like I ran a marathon, but I just biked 20 miles, which is kind of funny. So we do this first trip. In 2007, we raised like a few dollars for the CF Foundation. But not only that, my lung function started to improve. So I was biking and running at the same time. And when I say running, I'm talking like, oh, that's sparkling cider, by the way. Actually, no, it's champagne. It's in Grant Park. So this 300-mile bike trip took us 6 days. We did like 50 miles a day. And we kept doing it. So we did it year after year. And as we were doing it, my lung function got a lot better. And I was able, instead of biking 40 miles a day, we're up to like 70 miles a day, 80 miles a day. So yeah, we biked my lung function up to some high numbers. So the same time I started running. Biking, running, 2007. And how many people here have like tried to start running or exercising after doing nothing for like 5 years? Yeah, I mean nothing for 5 years. Running to the car when it's raining, if it's cold, that was my exercise, okay? I tried the gym for like a week at a time and I was like, oh no, I have CF. I gotta go eat a lot of terrible food and not do anything, which is great. So that was like my early 20s. 2007, I decided, I'm gonna start running. I signed up for my first 5K in the Couch to 5K program. You guys are probably familiar with that. I was literally couch. When I say couch, I mean like laying on the couch. I wasn't just sitting on the couch thinking about running. I was like laying on the couch. So my first few runs went like this. It was fall. I'm dressed in like 18 layers. And if you're a runner, you know like the less you wear, the better it is. But I was like, oh no, it's cold out. I gotta put like 8 hoodies on. I gotta wear a hat and gloves. I am gearing up for like an 18-minute run. So my run was like this. I like ran, sprinted to the corner, and I was like, oh, like I can't cough like I used to cough, but I was like coughing maybe for good 3 minutes and then like spitting up. You guys know the drill, that nasty stuff. And the people on the block were probably like, what is going on? Should we call an EMS? What is happening with this person out there who looks like she's dressed for Alaska and she's standing at the corner almost throwing up? So I didn't stop there. I got to that corner. I walked to the next, say, fire hydrant. At the fire hydrant, I'm like, I'm gonna run to that next no parking sign. So I run to the next no parking sign. This was my running for the first like 3 months. It took me maybe 3 to 4 months, maybe 5 months to build up just to run 2 miles. And once I did, I was like, okay, this is good. So I ran my first 5K. And this is my pulmonary function. Before exercise, low 60s. When I was in the hospital, it dropped down maybe 50s. I saw some 40s, which is scary. And after exercise, all the way up to like 74. And that's also when I transitioned to adult care at age 25. Yeah, I was like divorcing the children's hospital. I couldn't do it. but I eventually did switch, and it was a good change. But and my new doctor is a runner, so he's very cool with all the exercise and gives me good tips. But when I blew those PFTs, he's like, "What have you been doing different?" And I'm like, "Running and biking." And he's like, "All right, keep running and biking because it's totally changing your life," and it has. My hospitalizations went from 2 to 3 times a year to once every 18 months or so, and I just felt great. You know, it felt awesome. And of course, we all have dreams with CF. One day on a training run, when the other Kevin, my old high school teacher, we were running like a 10-mile run, and he's like, "Em, you should get in Runner's World." I'm like, "Oh yeah, let me call that editor right now and say, hey, put me in Runner's World," because that's how it works, right? But one day they called me when I was on an elliptical. I got an email from the writer, and she's like, "We want to put you in Runner's World." So I'm like, "Whoa, what?" So dreams come true. That article was like 2010, and with the dogs on the cover, if you subscribe to Runner's World, it's the one about running with dogs. So that like made my life right there. That was just surreal and super cool. So this is a blue lightning bolt. I'm sure you're all aware of that. And if you know me, you've heard a little bit about the blue lightning thing. And we're talking about dreams, and we're talking about changing your life and improving your life. Exercise totally improved my life. My family got me to that point of just taking care of myself, embracing CF, and being who I am today. The medications have kind of kept me alive, and I've seen life expectancy go from, like, you're not going to graduate from high school to now I'm 31. Pretty cool stuff here. But now we're treating CF in a whole new way. For me, childhood was enzymes, vitamins, and my parents beating me. Then it progressed to inhaled treatments that treat the infection, thins the mucus, better nutrition, supplements. Now we're treating CF the way that we've always kind of dreamed about, and I never in my lifetime thought, I always say like, oh, I knew this was coming, but I never knew it was coming, and now that I'm actually living what came, this is crazy. So, this is blue lightning. Let's see what happens here. Okay, lightning strikes. Perfect. All right, so Kaleido, I'm sure you've all heard of, and we just kind of got a brief little mention of it. I was on the phase 2 and the phase 3 clinical trial for this drug. Phase 2, I was on placebo because I saw no improvements, and I knew that because they were shoving a tube up my nose and measuring the electrical charge of your. Did you guys know that CF people have like a high electrical charge in their nose? Weird, right? So to find that number, they put a tube up your nose and shove water in it for 20 minutes and kind of just stare at you right in the face, and it was insane. So I knew I wasn't on the drug there when my electrical charge didn't change. But phase 3 at the University of Michigan, my nurse called and she's like, do you want to enroll in phase 3 of this drug? And it was VX770 at the time, and I'm like, yeah, let's give it a shot, because I love clinical trials. I'll say, if you can participate in a clinical trial, jump in. It'll help somebody no matter what, even if you're on placebo. You know, somebody's got to be on placebo to get this drug passed, or at least in the works. So I'm like, yeah, this sounds cool. I don't really know what this drug's about. I read somewhere it has potential to be something cool. I'd been in the Toby study. I've done all these other drugs, and I'm thinking, oh, what do we got? Like another breathing treatment? We got another pill that might help us feel a little better, you know, whatever. So I sign up for the thing. In 4 days after starting this drug, like literally 4 days, I was in Florida with my brother who had just moved there, and we were walking down the street on December 20, it was Christmas Eve. We were walking down the street, and I just stopped and I took a breath like that. Like I took a full breath in, and I let the breath out, and nothing happened. Normally, I would start coughing, or I would have to like take other breaths after it to kind of catch my breath, because even though I was running distance at the time and cycling, I still had like CF and like a moderate-ish case of CF, and I would still, taking a deep breath was something I couldn't remember doing since before the playground, right? So taking a deep breath in, letting it out, and no repercussions. So I'm like, I said to my brother, we stopped on the street, I said, I think I'm on this stuff. I don't know what this stuff is, but this is crazy. And this is 4 days after taking 8 pills, 1 pill twice a day. I knew something was cool. So my lungs started feeling better. My running and biking, I was now running and cycling without leaving a trail of mucus. So, you know, like I'm running and I'm breathing and I'm not coughing at all. It's insane. I'm cycling, and cycling takes a lot of wind out of you, and I'm constantly spitting stuff out. And I'm taking full breaths, and I'm like, this is crazy. So I had to see if this stuff really worked, because I was doing my research at the time and saying, this stuff treats the underlying cause of CF, right? It's treating CF at the cellular level. It's helped my cough, but what's the biggest part of CF also is that nasty, salty sweat. So on a normal bike ride in 100-degree weather for 50 miles, my black bike shorts would be gray with sweat, right? It's Emily's Organic Salt Farm. I was going to actually start bottling this stuff. But now I can't, because I can't sweat like that anymore. So I had to see if this stuff really works. So I went to the local gym, and I got on the elliptical machine. And in the little gym with me were like 30 other people working out, and there were like mirrors all around. So I said, okay, I got to see if this stuff is really working. So I'm on the elliptical machine, which I hate those things, but I'm on it, getting a good sweat, and then I lick my arm, because that's how you know. That's how CF people, we don't need sweat chloride tests. We just lick ourselves. And I licked my right arm, and then at first I looked, I was like, all right, nobody saw that. That's good. And then I said, okay, that's not very salty. So I work out a little bit harder, and then I licked myself again, and I'm like, okay, that's not very salty. So I jump off the machine. I'm like, this stuff's really working. My cough is better. My salt is like, my sweat is not salty. That's crazy, right? And the coolest thing about when they released the study data for this drug was the guys at the CF Foundation, like Bob Bell and Rich Mattingly, they were super pumped about the pulmonary function increase. And clearly mine, just 2 weeks ago, I saw my doctor in clinic. It was the highest lung function in my entire life ever, was 2 weeks ago. And when you have CF and you grew up with CF and you live and breathe CF every day, your pulmonary function doesn't usually get better and spike and keep getting better. Our goal is to make it kind of stay the same and not drop very much. But as you get older, that usually doesn't happen. So just blowing the highest lung function in my life was just incredible. It was crazy. But aside from the lung function, weight gain has been good. So with all this training and crazy stuff I'm doing, keeping my weight on and eating has been good. And so there's like a 6 pounds per average, I think they saw in some of the data for patients. So obviously I'm not like gaining a lot of weight, but I'm maintaining it, which is huge. And then when they released the data and those guys saw the sweat chloride levels had actually dropped to at or below 60 ml, or the average diagnosis number for CF, that's when the guys started crying, because they're like, this stuff is working. It's treating CF at the cellular level, and it is kind of stopping the symptoms before they happen. So I'm on all the other, this morning I got up and did my Pulmozyme. I still do all the other breathing treatments, the vest, I take my enzymes, but my hope, and I think, I don't know when and if, but in my mind I'm thinking, if we can give a pill like this, a corrector or whatever, to CF patients before they develop the lung damage or the pancreatic damage, maybe they won't have, these breathing treatments that we've grown up with and we've pioneered. So my hope for the future is bright. And sure, this drug only treats, right now, it's prescribed for like 4 to 5% of the CF population. It broke down the barriers, guys. It's huge. And just yesterday in the Atlantic magazine, I was at your house and I got an email from somebody that said, oh, the article was posted. I didn't have time to update the slide here. But one of the cool quotes that was bolded in the main article, which sometimes I really don't know what I say until it's on paper here. Yeah, it's not a good thing. One of the quotes that was bolded was, I worry about things I really never thought I'd have to think about, like health insurance and having an income to support myself and my parents getting older. So that was me growing up. And you guys with young kids, this is reality. Your kids, you guys should start thinking about this now. There's a lot of things that I never thought that would happen in my life that are happening right now. Like, oh, I have to go to work now every day and start my own business and pioneer health insurance. So CF is changing, and it's changing for the good, and it's, if you want to be born with, what just happened there? A little pocket click? Oh yeah, I just wanted to show you that slide again. It was so cool. It's so cool. But we're at a time with CF that I never thought would happen, and it's a pill. It's not another breathing treatment that takes you do 3 times a day for 20 minutes, and you have to sterilize this thing and then do it again. This is a pill that's treating CF at the cellular level. So I'm pumped, I'm excited. I know there's trials going on, so who knows when, but my hope is very soon. So everyone's just gotta like, just stay hopeful because we're so close. I'm living this thing and people are like, well, isn't it like a cure? And I use the word control. So I'm taking this pill and it's controlling CF. My day-to-day life, I honestly cannot tell you that. It's hard to explain, and if you read the article, which we'll have info after, I guess, about the article, I can't explain how good I feel. My day-to-day life is something I never in my life felt. Even though I'm doing all my other breathing treatments, and I've been in the hospital a few times since starting Kaleido, every single day of my life is the best day ever. It's like winning the lottery, and I can't explain how good I feel. I mean, if you told me 5 years ago, Emily, there's a little drug you're gonna take, and it's gonna make you feel better than you've ever felt, I'd be like, there's no way. There's no way, because I'd be like, oh, that's not another half-hour treatment. It's a pill. So I'm very excited for where we're going with the CF Foundation and everybody. Clinical trials are huge. Get in the clinical trials if you can. But just advocacy is huge too. I mean, there's so many things popping up in the CF world right now, and we need people out there fighting for us and with us. So thank you. Let's rock CF so hard. CF will stand for Cure Found. And I'm open to a lot of questions at the panel, so write them down, guys. Thank you.